You're listening to the Industry Alchemist podcast. The definition of alchemy is a seemingly magical process of transformation or creation. This podcast exists to hear the stories of entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders doing just that in their industry. We hear about the journey of the brave souls carving a new path, moving their industry and our lives forward in a seemingly magical way. I'm your host, Matt Brower, co-founder and managing broker of Column Commercial Partners, helping companies save money on their real estate. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Industry Alchemist podcast. I'm your host, Matt Brower. I'm sure most of us have heard that the survival of honeybees has a direct impact and correlation to the survival of the human race. And I've actually seen a couple documentaries about that. It's a very intriguing topic for me. Well, in this episode, we're going to hear the story of someone that has built a technology to help increase the survival rate of honeybees. Kimberly Drennan is CEO of HiveTech Solutions, which began in early 2017. Prior to that, and actually still today, she's been teaching environmental design at CU Boulder. An architect by trade, she saw an opportunity to combine her expertise in the built environment with her business partner, Dr. Chelsea Cook's expertise in honeybee biology, to make a positive impact in this critically important industry. HiveTech Solutions offers a comprehensive healthcare system for honeybees, combining their expertise in design, engineering, biology, and technology. They have developed and deployed a mobile apiary and network of smart beehives to improve honeybee health. And I have researched a little bit about this on your website, and haven't seen the inside of what one looks like, just seen the kind of the black and yellow tarps. But I'm really excited to learn more about what you guys have created. So I appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much, Matt.
Yeah. So when we spoke on the phone, you told me, I thought it was just a very cool way that you and Dr. Cook had come together. Can you highlight that again for the listeners?
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite stories. Because it was the start of something that's just like blossomed over many years. As you mentioned, I teach environmental design over at CU Boulder, and part of what I do is create problems for students to solve. And one of the problems that I looked into was that of the sort of built environment that honeybees live at. So inside the hive, what happens there? It's this sort of mysterious condition. But humans have created these little boxes for them to live in, little houses.
Yeah.
So I came across a bunch of these houses that were Dr. Cook's. She was studying thermoregulation in honeybee hives, like how do they heat and cool the inside of those boxes. And just like buildings, I automatically thought of buildings like air conditioning, heating, ventilation. How do we keep ourselves healthy inside of those?
Right. How do humans build their hives?
Exactly, yeah.
And then you correlate that, which is what you're trained in, you correlated that to how the bees actually do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chelsea kind of opened up a whole new world of this superorganism's ability to maintain it themselves. So they are their own HVAC system.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you took that, you learned about that topic, you learned how bees do that, and correlated it back, or vice versa? Or you implemented, with your technology, you implemented what we humans do to what you could build for the bees?
Yeah, a little bit of both, and it was kind of a growing process along the way. So we started out trying to understand what those conditions were on the inside. So we did a lot of sensor work and a lot of correlations between temperature and how the colony was growing and surviving, and especially over winter. There were these really big impacts that changes in temperature had on population and their survival into spring. So what we started looking into more seriously was the overall environment, climate change, and then some very specific stressors on honeybees, like the varroa mite. So varroa mites, yeah, they're these nasty parasitic mites that get into the honeybee colony, and really they are vectors for disease. And they weaken the colony. They introduce a lot of compromises to the honeybees' sort of global health and immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted to take a look at those two elements to see if could we change the hive and the environment that they're in every day and have an impact on their survival rates.
Very cool.
Yeah, so one of the first things we did was to look at when honeybees were dying off mostly. So beekeepers, I mean, they're struggling right now. 40% of our commercial colonies die every year. And beekeepers...
Every single year,
Yeah.
40% of colonies
40%
die.
on average, right? So some more, some less.
And that's due to disease from these parasites and climate, or other things as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of stressors. And so, you've probably heard of colony collapse that happened back in the 90s. And then, there's been struggles ever since related to honeybee health, both through disease and some of the things that honeybees have to do. They have to get on trucks and they have to travel thousands of miles to pollinate our crops, because our agriculture system is essentially a monocropped environment. Rather than having, forage for honeybees year round,
Yeah.
we have to take honeybees now to these monocropped landscapes so that we can have industrial scale agriculture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not happening naturally as often because of these large scale. I've seen, I can't remember what I was watching, but it was specific to almond trees.
There you go. Yeah, right
Yeah.
now, in fact. So honeybees are, at this time of year, probably finishing up or still out in the almond orchards right now. So they come in, and somewhere on that order of like 2.8 million colonies travel
Yeah.
just to pollinate our almonds this time of year.
Yeah, and that's the correlation between how the survival of the honeybee is a direct impact on the survival of us. If the bees are not pollinating our crops and our things we consume, then we don't have things to consume.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're this, we like to call them a keystone species in our food system,
Yeah.
because without that keystone, things start to fall apart.
Right. Wow. So is there, 40% per year, does it have anything to do with where they are on the globe? Like where are the highest rates of survival versus the lowest? Do you
Well,
know that?
there's a lot of difference all across the globe. There are places where they do a little bit better, places where they do a lot worse. Here in the U.S., because they migrate from southern latitudes up to northern latitudes, there's a lot of different microclimates that they've got to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? So they have to adjust being in Texas versus being up in the Dakotas and then out in California.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of stressors, and we ask a lot of this pollination workforce to do for us,
Yeah.
right? And so if there's a way to stabilize or eliminate some of these stressors, that's, I think, where we come in.
Mm-hmm.
We look at, okay, what is the winter conditions? And when we talk about climate change, winter's changing, right?
Yeah.
So winter that we have now is not the same winter we had even 10 years ago.
Right.
And there are some asynchronicities that are happening between plants because, maybe they have environmental cues related to daylight. Bees are very cued into temperature changes. So when it's, say, over 50 degrees, bees are out foraging, right? They're out
Okay.
looking for forage and flowers. But, this in the falls, when we have these extended falls, we don't have plant forage to back that up. So essentially they're going out, they're spreading more disease, more mites, and they're burning up a lot of their resources. And when I say resources, I'm talking a lot about the honey that they've created over the course of the year,
Yeah.
some of the pollen, and then they're out spreading disease through the density of hives around mites.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So they'll actually get consume these mites or have them on their body, and then they transfer them to other hives.
Mites are kind of fascinating creatures. They're doing really well with climate change.
Huh.
Right? Climate
Yeah.
change doesn't affect things equally. So
Yeah.
what the varroa mite has learned to do, they've evolved. So what we're talking about are these evolutionary changes in organisms. The varroa mite has evolved to become a migratory pest, meaning that it wasn't always able to hop from colony to colony. But over the course of this, these last 10, 15 years, they've been able to do that.
Yeah.
And now that bees are out foraging longer, they have a longer window to do that. And so they spike in their population numbers. They go inside the hives and they actually come out on the babies. So they go into the cells and they're actually in the honeycomb cells and they emerge. So right from the get-go, these honeybees are struggling with mites at the outset.
From the moment they come out of the cocoon or whatever that
That's
is.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go right into the honeybee cells and
Wow.
they go into where the brood or the baby bees are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So our philosophy was, let's see how much we can prevent. So let's look at when do the mites grow in their population. And well, what if we took bees out of the environment earlier when they were used to coming out, right? So we recreate this winter environment that they've evolved to use. They use winter. I mean, in fact, that's why we have honey. It's because honeybees have evolved to create honey so that they can go somewhat dormant during the winter and live within inside the hive based on the things they've stored.
Okay, so they would survive. Normally, they'd survive off of the honey that they've created.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're a European honey breed that they're used to, hunkering down in the winter, reducing their mite loads. Their population, decreases a bit. They slow things down, and they emerge in the spring when plants are blooming again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our philosophy was pretty simple. Let's recreate that experience for honeybees, remove them from the stressful environment, and see how they do. And our first proof of concept test was really pretty cool. We had 72% higher survival rate by just, giving them winter again.
Mm-hmm. You're kidding me. It's that much of a positive impact.
Yeah.
So that's what your box, and for the listeners, we're going to put a link to your website, but it's HiveTechSolutions.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
HiveTech solutions.com.
Yeah.
There's a photo of the box. What's the dimensions look like? What, 10 by?
Well, yeah, we have a couple, and maybe in the next week or two we'll add some more. But we've got several sizes of these boxes.
Okay.
The one that we're going into full production on is smaller. It's about the size of 8.5 by 14 feet long by about 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
So kind of like those pods units that you see traveling down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a perfect visual of like what the size is. Where would somebody? Well, first of all, who are you? Who's your ideal customer to have one of these? Obviously, a beekeeper, but like, how large of a hive would they have to have? Who would want to get involved in having one of these devices to?
Yeah.
Utilize?
So looking at the beekeeping market, it's really fascinating. They're incredibly industrious participants at all scales, from the hobbyist to the small commercial to the really large commercial folks. And the folks that we are looking at as a go-to-market customer are the small commercial beekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
A couple reasons for that would be that they'll see a really high return on their investment quickly. They're experiencing some of the bigger loss rates. And they're more oftentimes the local beekeepers that support local agriculture. So our units are designed to give them between 48 and 96 colony capacity. So that they can put in at a yard level. So a lot of times small commercial beekeepers will have honeybee yards. Well, they'll store 24, 48 in one location. So the idea would be that they can go ahead and put a series of hives into mica. And what's fun about it is because they are going dormant and because they are in a contained, controlled, safe place, they don't have to have winter management. So you don't have to go out and check your hives every couple of weeks. You don't have to do additional feeding, especially in days like this where we've got a really high temperature spike and then we're going to get hit with really low temperatures.
Right.
It keeps it at a constant level, so your bees aren't experiencing these extreme conditions.
Right. Yeah. It's March 1st and it's almost 70 degrees and not a cloud in the sky right now.
Yeah. And like last week it was 0.
So the bees might come out and go, oh, it's time. Oh, wait, it's
Never mind.
10 below next week, and we're going to get dumped out again.
Yeah.
It's Denver for you. The cool thing about this, or how this impacts, like, I just think most of the listeners of this podcast are the Denver business community, national business community, and even some international listeners. Whether or not people know, there are a lot of like the downtown high-rise buildings, the office buildings in the tech center. They have bee hives on the roofs of these buildings now, and this is new within the last 2, 3, 4 years. I think this started with the farm-to-table restaurateurs that are in town, who have their own farms, and they have a farm-to-table function of their restaurant. Urban Farmer is a perfect example. I learned a few years ago that the owner of Urban Farmer downtown, they have a farm, they have a beehive, or I don't know how many, on the roof of that building downtown. And now it has become part of LEED certification, and you know the terminology better than I would in terms of like the credits you can get to have beehives on your roof. But I love seeing that this has now become a part of real estate development and sustainability practices.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing to watch urban real estate start to embrace these kinds of like bringing nature back into the urban areas. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I'll have to I'll have to get you connected with Stryker Lewis on my team, who's he's a leader in the sustainable built environment. He's passion for it. Yeah, he's newer in the business, and he's has a blog, and he's building quite a community around that. So,
I'll have to check it out.
He's going to be
like
very
Stryker.
intrigued. Yeah, exactly. And he's going to be very intrigued by what you're building too. So, side note.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're somebody who has no less than how many hives would you say?
Yeah, it would probably be between 24 and 96 colonies would be a perfect for one of our first micas.
Okay, yeah. All the way up to like is this solution is there anyone too big for this solution in terms of if they have, and I don't know the industry at all, so educate me a little bit on are there any beekeepers or anything that are too large for your solution that you can't quite accommodate yet?
Well, the way this scales is that it's modular in the way we've approached it and approached the design. So both the shell of the equipment and all of that can scale up. We're starting with just the small unit, and right now there's not anyone too large. Mm-hmm. We can always accommodate more pods and kind of grow the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, I think one of the areas that we're looking into is a lot of the data products that can come along with this.
Yeah.
So our hope is that as we start to build out, hardware as a service and do a lot more data capture, that our data product that will ultimately come out of this will serve more of the large commercial market.
Okay. Wow. So where are you? You started this in 2017.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was several years of R&D, and that
Yes.
continues. You have a product now that's marketable, and you have customers. You just got some funding, I believe.
Well, we've gotten some amazing support both from USDA, the SBIR, and then from the state of Colorado, the OEDIT. They have a wonderful grant program, and we've gotten some support just recently from the state of Colorado.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're, which is how we originally got connected. You're, needing to grow your operation and manufacturing and R&D, or.
That's right. So we're looking for real estate.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, and you had reached out on a listing that we have, and I just was so intrigued by your company that I had reached out and asked, you've got to tell this story on my podcast. So I love that. So where are you guys going with this? What's your vision in 5 years? Obviously, the larger you can grow, the more impact you can have, which is what's driving all of this, I'm sure. Are there any kind of growth projections, any goals that you guys have set to try to achieve with regard to that?
Yeah, we're very much a mission-driven company, and we almost make our projections on how many bees are we saving as we're moving through this journey. In terms of the business language of it, we'd like to scale quickly into the large commercial market with a pollination-specific product. Right, so we're perfecting some of the technical details now, growing our base in the small commercial world. But in 5 years, we see ourselves being just the normal condition for pollination, so that there would be an overwintering component. It would be out in the orchards. We would be able to. One cool thing about the data and the research piece is we've been able to come up with some algorithms directly about hive survival and being able to predict the health of a colony from October, what it'll look like in January or February.
When you're collecting that much data, have that many data points, you can make predictions like that.
Right. Even just with some of the limited models that we've had from our earlier work, we've had some pretty good accuracy with predictive modeling.
Yeah.
And so we see that as being such a great tool, not just for the beekeepers, but for growers. Right now, there's a rental market out there for growers. You know, it's kind of interesting that you've got a brokerage component to
renting hives for a period of time.
That's right.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because hey, I need this to be, you know, my crops to be fertilized, you know, pollinated during this time of year, and we're gonna Wow.
So right now there's a fairly active brokerage market, and we see the ability to impact that area with our data, with our pricing, and with our product. So looking 5 years down the road, we see just a transformation in the way pollination happens. We see a transformation in how honeybees are cared for, and then how the relationship between growing and beekeeping can evolve.
Yep. It becomes part of what you do as a beekeeper to have mica, is what you said? To have mica as part of your operation.
Yeah.
That's what your
It just
vision
becomes
is.
part of how this system works.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could say that there's a disruption to it, but actually we see it as just an evolution.
You're right.
This is just another tool that now gives you the capabilities to plan in advance, to grow your inventory, and to have some price stability.
Yep.
You know, this right now, hive rentals, every year there's just an escalation in them, and growers are having the same kinds of headaches as beekeepers are. Where are the bees? Where can we get them? Who has good bees? How healthy are they going to be? Because that impacts
after the trip. Yeah.
directly how much their almond crop's going to be productive.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many beekeeper? Let's say in Colorado. How large is this market? How many beekeepers are there in this market
so
nationally?
Colorado doesn't have the largest amount of beekeepers. They've got some really awesome beekeepers that are in areas, you know about melons and squashes and areas that have productive fruits. We've met some really interesting organic farmers as well. So one thing that I see really fascinating about Colorado and the farm-to-table movement is the diversified small farm that will have some colonies that they need to keep year-round operations. So Colorado doesn't participate in the sort of large production agriculture like out in California.
California, probably Arizona, like southern Arizona, has a lot of crops.
Even on
some of those
up
markets
towards apples. So the whole West Coast has pollination as a service all along the West Coast.
Okay.
You look at some citrus areas in Texas and Florida, and then even on the East Coast, you can go up and there's a lot of cranberries and areas in there. Alfalfa. So in the Dakotas, even the foods that we don't eat, but our cows and our other livestock depend on, have honeybees out there pollinating.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So what the landscape looks like, really, if you look at what is producing fruit or flowers, that's where your honeybees are going to be.
Okay.
So certainly in the Dakotas, there's a lot of honey production there. That they'll take the bees after they're done pollinating in some of the California areas, go up to the Dakotas for the summertime. So they'll build up their colony strength. They'll do a lot of honey production up there, and then it's kind of the circuit yet again begins every year, traveling, and they have their migratory path.
And how do they travel normally? Trucks?
Semi-trucks.
Semi-trucks. So it's just a migration depending on when these farmers are ready for the pollination. Wow.
Yeah, so our hope is to cut down on that transportation,
Yeah.
to be able to have bees stay in one place maybe for a lot longer, and then to give them a much better environment, a more stable environment every time they do have to go somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to, long term, it'll save everyone a ton of money.
Yeah.
That's in this business, any part of this business.
It does. We want to become the next keystone piece
Yeah.
to the system.
You know, it's kind of reminds me of a prior episode of this podcast, Michael Minus with Science.
Oh.
Science starts with a C. They're basically a marketing lead gen company. Well, they have built enough data points now where it doesn't matter whatever industry that one of their customers is in, they can say, because they have the amount of data points, for every $1 you spend implementing our process, it turns into X dollars of additional revenue for you. So that's kind of what you guys are building as you collect this many data points. You'll be able to tell, your customers, for every mica that you have, or every system, every dollar you put into this, you're going to be able to save X or make X, and it's just going to be part of the conversation from now on.
That's right.
Cool. That's a big vision and very inspiring.
Well, it's something that keeps us all going. We're all really excited about the work that we do and how this is going to grow and become a different version of itself, even in the next few years.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, it's just such a critical topic. I mean, I love consuming documentaries. Mm-hmm. Look at how many documentaries are being put out about the environment and our food system and just all of that. It's wild.
And Colorado is a wonderful place to be for that,
mm-hmm.
because the conversation is starting in many areas here. It's evolving here. And there's a ton of contributions that the state's making to the national conversation.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. How are you guys getting the word out? I hate to use the business or marketing strategy, but what are you guys in publications? Are you going to trade shows? Like, what does that look like? Are you there yet?
Yeah, well, actually, over the last several years, we've just been boots on the ground meeting beekeepers. They're not the easiest folks to meet mm-hmm. because they are working hard. They're out in the fields. They don't do a lot of social media. If they're doing social media, it's probably YouTube videos with each other, sharing tips and how to do something. They're really generous in the way that they share information.
Yeah.
So we've just been really trying to make relationships with good beekeepers that will teach us a lot, because coming from outside the industry, it's not easy. Right. It's not easy to understand how they do what they do. There's a lot of wisdom in the beekeeping community that they're happy to share. It's just oftentimes they're so busy working and being out in the fields that it's not easy to get into that community. So we've had our own hives. We've been managing them. Chelsea has her research hives. But for industry experience, we've been fortunate to meet folks who are willing to share their information with us.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long has Dr. Chelsea Cook been in the industry?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. So when she and I met, she was finishing up her PhD at CU Boulder.
Okay.
So that was back in 2015, 2016, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then she did a postdoc out in Arizona State just after completing the PhD, and now she is at Marquette University with her own honeybee lab.
Oh, wow.
up in Wisconsin.
Cool. I went to Arizona State.
Ah, okay.
Got a very different degree, but...
Yeah, that is a tough beekeeping area.
Is
also,
it?
With all the heat.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, bee suits and summertime heat. It's tough down there.
Awful. Mm-hmm. How time consuming and like labor intensive is beekeeping? I have no idea. Like, is this like similar to ranchers where you're literally getting up at 4 a.m. and working till the sun comes down?
Oh yeah, if not even more so, because
Wow.
a lot of the bees, whenever you have to load bees, it's a kind of a dicey operation, as you can imagine.
I can imagine.
So there's a lot of preparation, and a lot of the work is done at night, and it's done when it's cool.
While they're dormant and they're
That's
calm.
right.
Yep.
So it's by far some of the hardest work I've ever seen.
Yeah. Wow. So I appreciate all of that color on the how this all came to be and everything. Let's transition to you on a personal level. I think it's fascinating that you come from an academic background. You've taken on this very entrepreneurial project, and not only that, but it's a very innovative thing that's being pushed into an industry that has had no innovation, very little innovation in a very long time. I don't know how true that statement is, but what resistance have you come up against, and how have you guys kind of handled just staying the course and keeping the eye on the vision?
Yeah. Well, before being at CU, I'm actually from South Texas, and so I came from a ranching background.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of in my blood. That's how I grew up. Was outside, outdoors with all of different animals and plants. So that was really familiar to me. When I went to CU and met a bunch of folks who were really cutting edge in terms of technology and biology, that put a slightly different lens over everything. And so what I like to think of is it's ranch tech.
Yeah. Ranch tech.
It's ranch tech. And when we think about innovations in beekeeping, there's a ton. Every beekeeper is super innovative,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I've never met a more willing to try and collaborate and understand this organism, the honeybee. And so really working with them is just, I don't think I've taught a beekeeper anything. I think it's
Wow.
been the opposite, that they've always shared a lot more with me than I've been able to put out to them.
Yeah, that's very open community, helpful community then.
They're super helpful.
Cool.
But at the same time, it's a no-nonsense area. There's no frills. It's hard work. The margins are slim. It's a difficult job. And so, if anything, it's brought me back to kind of understanding how to be a good steward of the land. And it's not necessarily the lead credits or the publications or anything like that that's going to make a difference. It really is how much on a day-to-day basis are you taking care of things.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
What a great answer.
Well, it's been a journey. It's been a super interesting journey because I think in the tech world and in a lot of the investment world, it's push hard, push fast, fail quickly. And I'm like, no, we can't do that. We can't fail quickly with your bees.
Right.
And so I think that's been more of the challenge than anything else. It's just been, okay, there's an urgency to this. For financing, there's urgency where, everybody's being encouraged to break things quickly. And I think, if anything, we've been counter to that. We're like, no, we need to move more measured and more slowly and not break things, but actually repair things bit by bit.
Yeah.
And so it's taken a while.
As we grow this, yeah.
Yeah, it's taken a while. We haven't necessarily jumped off the hockey stick like a lot of other technology companies have, or even smart sensors.
Right, yeah, smart sensors are a big industry. That's Internet of Things in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys are right in that.
We are. In a strange way, we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of ancillary to that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. How about let's dig into kind of rapid fire questions now. You guys have created this incredible piece of technology. What is your favorite technology you use often?
It's a graphite pencil.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah, like I go
Spoken
everywhere.
like a true architect.
It is. It's a pencil and a big eraser. So that's what I have with me all the time. I almost can't read a book without a pencil in my hand.
Wow. Underlining, highlighting.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of it. Drawing. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any people that have been extremely impactful in your life? Any turning points? Any like ahas coming from anyone you consider a hero or just very impactful for you?
Oh gosh. Yeah, the list is long. I think I have to just say categories.
Yeah.
And it's mostly been teachers and relatives. Oddly enough, I come from my sort of genetic history as a small town in Texas called Bee House, Texas.
No way.
Yeah. And so that community that's always been kind of a hard scrabble Texas rancher life, just that lifestyle and that outlook and the humility that they bring, just caring for things, caring for the land, caring for animals, caring for plants, insects, like understanding that we're all part of this.
Yeah.
So I think that's one category. And then the second has been educators who have just been patient and always been a positive, reinforcing experience in my world. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like really just ties you directly to the passion that drives you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. Last question. What is your superpower?
Oh, gosh.
You probably, if you have listened to a few episodes, you probably knew that was coming.
Superpower. A superpower that is not even connected to what I do with honeybees. I actually like to teach dance.
No way.
Yeah.
What kind of dance?
I do ballroom dancing, country western, swing. And so I hope my superpower, because it's a really good one, it's a beautiful one, and when it works, is that I can get anybody to dance.
Wow. Can you get anyone to be good at dancing? Because I could use some work. No. Oh, that's cool. What's your favorite, if you had to pick your favorite dance where you just feel like you flow the best, what would that be?
Yeah, well, so I don't do solo dancing, so that would not be a flow. I am not salsa or Zumba kind of dancer. I like partner dancing, where you've got a connection with somebody else and you have to constantly negotiate and have a conversation about what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Just
when
by
you
the
have
little
a,
micro movements of the body and
you
everything.
got it. And so when that
Cool.
happens to a song and to out there on the dance floor, that's the best.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nightclub two-step.
There you go.
Ballroom.
West Coast swing.
Yeah.
All of that's a lot of fun.
My back when I was in high school or college, I think high school, my mom got deep into dancing. She was out taking lessons 4 nights a week, probably. Got very good at every dance that I could possibly think of right now.
Yeah.
And just had a huge passion for it. I'm not sure she's gone to any events or classes in the last several years, but she loved it. So that's why I know the names of some of these. She remember her journey.
Yeah.
So very cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and teaching us more about HiveTech solutions.
Well, thanks for the invitation, Matt. Thanks for your interest in what we're doing and just kind of the connection to sustainability, to nature, and to the world outside us.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk some real estate. We'll stop recording and see what we can get you.
Yeah, let's find a place to
Find a
make
place.
these.
Yeah. All right.